Again, welcome. Thank you for being here. Makes my heart sing. Makes me very happy to see you all. Really. So this is the third class in the third module of what is being called Buddhist mind science. It's a study of the mind with an underpinning of current scientific findings that actually underpin that idea that Buddha put forward more than 2,500 years ago. You can't hear me? Is there do I need to turn this up? Do I need to bring this closer to my, let's try this. Is that better? How's that? I'll try. I'll do my best. Okay. So within these 7 modules that are presented in Buddhist mind science, it covers 4 components. First is establishing a purpose. What is the purpose of our life? What is the meaning of our life? How can we make our life most meaningful? And the second component is mental balance, establishing a mind that has the ability to remain in a state of equanimity, a state of calm and peace, even in the midst of the turmoil. The third one is warm-heartedness, cultivating a caring attitude toward oneself and all beings. So expanding our wish to be happy to include the wish for happiness of everyone. Not only the human beings on this planet, but all of them, down to the tiniest insect. So we encompass all beings. This is the idea. This is the plan, to open our heart in loving kindness, compassion. And the fourth one is wisdom, to really understand how this reality exists and how this mind, my mind, creates my world. How is that? How does the mind fabricate the world? So this is what is examined throughout these 7 modules. And this time we are working on mental afflictions. What obscures this mind from the happiness that we seek? So last week, we looked at the nature of mind and its crucial role in achieving lasting happiness. This is a desire we all share. Can you agree? We all want to be happy. Yeah. Sometimes we don't, we behave in ways that produce the opposite result, even when that's what we seek. So we highlighted the importance of being present in the moment, present, relaxed. And we briefly discussed the 3 main afflictions, which are attachment, grasping attachment, and aversion, not liking, not wanting. And the third one is ignorance or delusion. It is a mistaken view of reality. His Holiness the Dalai Lama refers to it as a misknowing. We think we know, but we've got it wrong. So these perceptions that we have, these emotions affect our perceptions. They affect our actions. So we look at that. Where are these afflictions? They're in the mind, right? They're in the mind. So through analytical meditations, we explored strong emotions like anger, trying to understand their origins and how repeated patterns reinforce them. I think we can see that when we look. That's the key. We have to look. So this is important. And in this session, we're going to continue this exploration of the mind. So I invite you to settle into a meditation, comfortable posture. Okay, so our posture is our foundation. allowing the energies to flow, the breath to flow. So when it's comfortable for you to allow your energies to flow through an upright position, neither too relaxed nor too loose. And let's set our intention, our reason for participating in this class, reflecting on our shared desire for happiness and freedom from suffering. And let's cultivate a loving wish to relieve the world's suffering through the power of our own awakening, an unfolding process which is happening right now, right now. So if you're able, encourage your spine to lengthen and straighten, and then bring awareness to your crown and let it gently flow down, softly, like a warm light, coming down through the center of your body. And consciously shine that light on any tension or tightness and give it permission to release, to let go. And notice when you do this, how it affects your mood. When I can just relax. And breathe into your belly, allowing it to loosen and spread. And release any tension. Feel your body grounded, stable, and safe. So we're going to practice for 10 minutes. Some of it will be guided. And I'm going to actually set a timer so that we stay on track. So now, as we train our mind to attend to the present moment, simply notice how the body breathes according to its natural rhythm, sometimes long, sometimes short. Let your attention settle on the sensation of the breath, which anchors you in the moment. To fine-tune the awareness, if it's comfortable for you, bring your attention to the tip of the nose, to the nostrils, and notice the change in the sensation. Right there, just the breath right there. Breathing in and breathing out. The body breathing on its own, without any force or impedance. And perhaps count 10 cycles, if that's useful for you, to help stay right there. A full cycle is breathing in and breathing out as one. And when the mind wanders, your mind is your friend. Treat it with loving compassion and encourage it to come right back, right here, to the sensation of the breath. Each time you drift away, happily come back to the present moment, relaxed and at ease. And we'll continue in silence for a few more minutes, attending to the sensation of the breath as the body breathes. How wonderful. Be satisfied if just 10% of the mind is on the breath, while the sensations and the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions come and go. It's like being at the beach taking care of your grandchild or your child, and you don't want to ever let them out of your sight, but you also enjoy the sound of the water, the children playing. Just thinking there's nothing to do or undo. Just this, just the breath. How great that is. Continuing for 3 more minutes. Sometimes it feels like an eternity. Just the breath. And now, as we come back into the room here, just feel free to move and be comfortable. Open your eyes. So, when we continue to practice this being present in meditation, we may find that after settling the mind with the breath, that we can remain in the moment without needing to focus solely on the breath. So while the breath is still there, the mind becomes content, alert, open, and accepting of each moment. The entire present experience comes into focus, all of it, whatever. It allows us to have a heart-centered awareness of everything around us, whether it's bodily sensations, sounds, thoughts, emotions. We let these experiences come and we train the mind not to become engaged, to let them come, take their shape, serve their purpose, and dissolve without engagement. So by attending to the present, this moment, we begin to see the cycle of arising, abiding, and dissolving in every moment. Moment by moment by moment, there is an arising, there's an abiding, and there's a dissolving of every sense perception. We have an opportunity to actually have some experience of that when we pause. And within this flux of experience, of this, there is a quality of awareness that is still, that stays attentive without being reactive. So through our experience, we come to see that no conditions are permanent. Nothing is permanent. No conditions are reliable. They won't stay. And fundamentally, nothing is self. So that's a key concept that will be explored in later modules. So as we investigate our mind, focusing on the breath, we actively investigate how the mind is fabricating our experience. Because you see, as we sit there, our mind is on the breath and the thought comes. If we leave it alone, a thought has no essence. So if we leave it alone, it doesn't stay. It will just fizzle. It will go. It will dissolve. But it is our habit to grab it and write a story about it. So this is what we have to do in order to determine how it is that we create our own world, that we fabricate our own world. This is what Buddha said. He said, look, don't believe what I say. Don't believe my words. You must investigate, you must explore, you must examine how the mind fabricates its experience of the world until you have no doubt in your heart. So, when we see how thoughts become words, and words become deeds, and deeds become habit, and habit becomes character, and character becomes destiny. We must always check, what's my goal? What do I want my destiny to be? And how do I create that? And that's the whole Buddhist path. Creating the path to happiness and freedom from suffering. With all of the multiplicity of practices, which begin with pausing and taking a look at what's arising in the mind and how grasping onto it creates our world. So let's examine how mind is the seed of everything. Once again, we'll meditate. I think I'm going to make it for 5 minutes. You see, we can say a lot of words, but until we actually think about these words and think about what they mean and bring them to life in our own world, in our own practice, that's where they remain as an intellectual exercise. So really looking. So taking a comfortable position. Sit fully. And once again, just do a quick scan down through your body and let go of any tension. Soften. Let your chest expand a little bit and the energy to flow gently through. Embrace an attitude of ease and care. There's no need to force anything. Just be present with what's arising and allow your awareness to rest in the present moment. This momentary present awareness as we notice the movements of thought, the inner chatter, the mental images, and simply observe how they arise, how they dissolve, without clinging to them like waves on the ocean. Focus on the continuity of experience. Even in the absence of thought, there's always a moment by moment awareness. Relax and notice this continuity. Let your mind rest and stay in this moment without the need to change anything. Just watch what is arising, like a mirror reflecting what appears before it. Without judging. So as we end the meditation, let's keep in mind what we want our moment to moment experience to be, that we would like it to produce a happy result, to have a mind that rests. The definition of happiness is a state of well-being, contentment. Contentment is ease of mind, satisfaction. So last week we talked a little bit about afflictions. Let's look at them. What is an affliction? It's a mental state that leads to dissatisfaction, suffering, and it's termed dukkha. Dukkha. Dukkha has a connotation of everything not being just right. It actually translates as off center. It's like an axle that's wobbly. So it is a suffering condition. So in meditation, we have an opportunity to observe the patterns that keep arising and maybe to reveal how weakening afflictions can lead to greater and greater satisfaction. So we're going to look at afflictions. What are they? And we're going to look at strategies. So maybe I'm going to share. Did you make me co-conspirator? Oh, there it is. Okay. I don't know why it doesn't show up here. This is when we get to practice patience. There it is, maybe. It shows up, but it won't share. So I was so successful yesterday in getting it to share. Pardon me? Yes. I always need help, Shanka.
What are we trying to do?
I'm trying to share this.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Got it.
I just didn't see the button. My buttons are always getting pushed, but I'm trying to find the one there. Now the question is, this is it. Look at that. Okay, common mental afflictions. Do you recognize any of them in yourself? Anger, aversion, attachment, desire, doubt, jealousy, pride. Can you see it? Is it too small? What's that? Okay. So these are the common mental afflictions: anger, aversion, attachment, desire, doubt, jealousy, pride, criticism, ignorance. Criticism is judging, the judging mind. Things are just not quite right. So think about these, and which one would you say in your life is your worst? The one that manifests most often as an affliction for you. Just think about that for a moment. And then these are the strategies, which I don't think you will be able to read. So I'm going to read them for you. So how do we weaken the affliction? So hold the one that you think is your number one right now in your life, that disturbs your mind most often and most readily. So how can we avoid them? So we can steer clear of the triggers that cause them to arise, the overwhelming social influences. Like if you have a strong desire for something, then you try distancing yourself from it and observe if your desire diminishes. So this is important. So we apply the strategy, but then we see if it works. Is it really true? If I avoid going to the places where that arises, if I avoid looking at that screen of that causes anger, then does it diminish? So we look at that and we look at our inclination or our natural tendency to behave in a particular way. So we don't feed the negative. So we see it arise, but we don't feed it. We have a tendency to go there, but it's not our goal to become unhappy. Our goal is to be happy. And if I engage in that mental affliction, it will produce the opposite result. So we have to become aware of our tendencies. Then to apply patience, loving kindness, and compassion. Those all serve as antidotes to any of your afflictions. Cultivate wisdom. So this is analyzing the situation from a broader perspective. So that can help to diminish, like considering anger. For instance, if you understand that someone is having a very difficult life, if they present behavior that causes irritation to arise, rather than allowing that irritation to expand into full-blown anger followed by rage, we say, wow, what if they're doing the best they can? What if, what if, uh, what if they're having a really bad life or a bad day? So then we can apply some patience and set boundaries. So this is cultivating an ethical life, avoiding the causes of those afflictions to arise in the first place. So we set boundaries for actions that are driven by afflictions. And the last one is to meditate on the nature of mind, which we are doing, really trying to get an idea of what is this mind? What are these things that arise in the mind? What do they have an essence, you see? Do they have an essence? So what is it that increases our mental afflictions? Whoops. So we can look at what increases that particular affliction that we chose as our most prominent one manifesting in our life right now, and see what circumstances tend to amplify it. Just think about that. And then how would you effectively manage it? So if you consider this affliction, which one of the strategies might you use, seeing yourself in a situation where that affliction has arisen or might arise? And then which affliction, which strategy would you apply? Distancing yourself from triggers, practicing patience, loving kindness, and compassion, setting personal boundaries, or meditating on the nature of mind, any or all. So imagine yourself just integrating these approaches into your daily life. For instance, maybe a particular person is specifically irritating for you. What strategy could you use? Could we say, oh, just like me, they want to be happy, and they're behaving in ways that is not producing happiness for them? So that gives me some understanding that that person also has joys and sorrows. And it, for me, helps diminish. So I might see their behavior as being forced by their ignorance. And that gives me greater compassion, greater patience. So these are these are thoughts for our particular reflection throughout our day. If we can remember, if we can just think about it, the way to remember it is to repeat it over and over again. You sit, you meditate, you think about it, say, okay, I can see that when I am jealous, when I am angry, when I have grasping desire, this sense of neediness, my mind is not at peace. And so when we meditate and we have an opportunity to simply have a pause and to begin to see the pure nature of the fundamental mind, this Buddha nature that we have within us, each one of us, then we can see, okay, there's work to be done. I really have to do this, if I want to be happy. So this we do. We're going to take a 10-minute break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do more of this. But I think everybody needs a stretch. Hello. Feel free to stand up, to take a little walk around the building, to do the circumambulation, to use the restroom, to stretch. I sometimes think, when I'm at home, I have to set an alarm because when I meditate, it's I think, okay, has to have been 10 minutes or it has to have been 20 minutes by now. So it's like, because after a period of time, because I have done quite a lot of retreat, and in those retreats, when I did sitting silently, I would set my timer for 20 minutes. And over a period of years, it would, it was amazing how at about 19 and a half minutes, I would begin to be triggered to come out of it. The mind gets trained, this is the possibility. It's possible to train this unruly mind. It's amazing, but it is possible. It requires dedication, you see. It requires and it requires a determination. There's a kind of determination. Lama Yeshe used to go, strong determination. We begin our meditation to make that strong. I'm not sure why. That strong determination to be vigilant, to be okay for this period of time. And having short meditation is important to over and over again. We try short meditations with a strong ability or to return, make sure we return. So we make that strong determination for 5 minutes. We'll stay on the object for 5 minutes. And then we watch because exactly.
This on the tissue box.
It's got juju. We do have to. I see. I see. It's a prop. Okay. Well, I hope that's true. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Great, great. So, like I was saying, that it is important for us to make a strong determination when we begin, when we're at home, to determine to stay. I'm going to do my best for this period of time. And we set our timer in a realistic time, not something that we think, okay, now I'm going to stay for an hour. Not like that, really. Be gentle to start. And maybe, for the first month, you sit for 5 minutes in this concentrated state, but you're studying before and after. You're studying, you're thinking about it, you're analyzing. When you come to that place of single pointed awareness, make a strong determination to grow your concentration. And I will stay. And I will know that thoughts and feelings and emotions will come. Miller Rapis said, it doesn't matter. You can't your lock it up. So understanding we don't beat ourselves up. You see, common misunderstanding that meditation aims for absolute stillness, you know. And if we believe this, we might feel agitated or by interruptions, really longing for what's missing. You're in a quiet forest, meditating, and there's a chainsaw. Yes. And now you know the logging has started. So are you going to be irritated every time the chainsaw saw revs up? Or are you going to be or are you going to be able to take the mind inward and go attention? Where to hold this? What? Okay. This is this is good. Stay really still. So, thinking mind will inevitably arise. It's the mind's nature, you know. There's the chattering thoughts, one after another, There's the internal committee, you know, arguing with itself. Yes, you know. And there's the critical voice. Yeah. The voice reviewing the past and going over woulda, coulda, shoulda. So these thoughts come. And if we grab them, we're trapped. We're trapped in those. And even if there's a juicy thought that comes and we think, oh, yeah, okay, good. So nice. And we follow it. We follow it along. We're redecorating the living room, picking out the right colors. And even that won't stay. Even when we have grasped things that we are enjoying, that won't stay. I remember one teacher told me that's what she did. She would just redecorate. She would make a plan on how she can fix that and how she can fix that and how she can fix that, until finally she realized that there was really no benefit in that. It didn't transform her mind in any way, but it did pass the time when she was bored. So instead of seeking silence, we respect both stillness and movement in meditation. And as much as possible, we remember our object. You see, that's the first thing. Mindfulness is our tool, and introspection is the tool that checks from time to time whether we're still on the object. It's like Lama Yeshe used to call it a mindfulness fish. So it's not disturbing this strong, concentrated energy, but it's checking just from time to time. And then if we're sleepy, we can sit up more straight. We can open our eyes, let a little light in. What we need to determine is, yeah, for this short period of time, I am going to stay here, you see. And I have mentioned many times, like training a puppy. You don't train the puppy to stay for more than a few, maybe 1 minute, maybe 30 seconds, like that, And then you see that the puppy has run right up to you. And once again, you tell it to stay. That's okay. Our awareness is infinitely managed. Infinitely, we can bring it back. Infinitely, we can reconnect over and over again until maybe, there does come a time when there's more space. There's more effort, let's say less effort to stay present in between. And we can mind the gaps, like the sign in the underground in London. Mind the gaps. So this is recognizing that in between all of the chatter, there's a space. Just recognize the space. It's kind of like really looking and holding that and seeing that space is empty. The fundamental nature of the mind is empty, spacious, and pure. It's this luminous clarity, and then the clouds pass by. Like that. See? But the spacious mind is always there. And when we can tap into that and begin to recognize that, then that's available when we're standing in line at the grocery store and someone's fumbling with their change and you have an appointment. It's just, okay. There are so many strategies we can use when our mind moves away from our object. But just to recognize that fundamentally, our mind is pure. Wow. Just to think that. So instead of seeking silence, we respect both movement and stillness. And skillful meditation involves training the mind to remain present in these fluctuations. And initially, using the breath, the sensation of the breath, is actually an excellent anchor because we can feel it. It's a place to go, and we can feel that. And if that's, you can also try using the rise and fall of the abdomen. Some people have a difficult, don't enjoy at the nostrils, something about that, So, but they drop into the rise and fall of the abdomen. So there's both options work equally well. It's a question of promising yourself to stay just for a short period of time until you realize, oh, you know what? I really did stay for a full minute right there. Fantastic. And then rejoice, you see, rejoicing in that, congratulating ourselves. Because normally, I often hear, there's the beating oneself up. Oh, for gosh sake, I can't do this. Look, I did it again. Oh, there I go again. Ah. So Not like that. Train yourself not to do that, but to say, oh, there you go. Okay, friend, come on back. No, come on back. Okay, here we go again. It's okay. We'll try again. This is important, because otherwise we begin to dislike coming to our cushion or our seat because we're just going to go in there and beat ourselves up. We can do that without meditating. So when we begin to see on our cushion how we're doing that and we're letting go of that, we can begin to let go of that in our daily life as well, you see, because we see that it has no essence. I don't have to hold on to that. So why do I have to hold on to that at any other point in time? So let's try. And I'm going to do 5 minutes. So we take a good seat, checking our posture. Check. Is your body relaxed? Sometimes a deep breath, sometimes raising the shoulders up and going, okay, good. Here I am. Here I am. And then we make a determination that in this state of full relaxation, the mind will remain vigilant and become aware of how the breath moves in the body. The breath in the whole body. What happens when we breathe in? Notice the belly rises, and when we exhale, it falls. The chest expands and contracts. Maybe the shoulders slightly lift and fall. This precious breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And let the body establish its own rhythm. Notice how the breath turns. At the top of the inhale, at the bottom of the exhale, and without any force or impedance, it simply breathes on its own, a natural rhythm. Focus on the quality of stillness. An experience of peacefulness. Like a gentle release. When the outer sound stops. Oh. And as our meditation deepens, the mind has the potential to stay with this still quality, this peaceful, open spaciousness, without rushing off to distractions. Begin to see that this still quality is always present. this fundamental spaciousness, even amidst the mental activity, the sense perceptions. In this peacefulness, we can hear the inner dialogue without engaging in it. We leave it alone. And recognizing that everything we perceive, it's their nature to arise, take shape, change, and disappear. This is the conditioned mind. So feel free to move and become present in the room. So that which knows our awareness of our perceptions, moods, thoughts, is perfectly still. That which knows is still. It's like a mirror, and it reflects whatever appears before it. Beautiful, ugly, pleasant, painful. There was a teacher at the time of the Buddha, a very old man. His name was Bahia. And he came to the Buddha toward the end of his life. And he said, how should we practice? And the Buddha said, in the scene, let there just be the scene. In the herd, let there just be the herd. In the mentally cognized, let there just be the mentally cognized. In the felt sense, let there just be the felt sense. And when you see that in the scene, there's only the scene, in the herd, only the herd, in the felt sense, only the felt sense, and in the mentally cognized, only the mentally cognized, you will see that there is no self in here or out there or anywhere in between. So there's no one actually thinking, feeling, seeing, cognizing. This is ultimately something that we will discuss in the wisdom modules, but somehow that just came up in my mind. So I thought to share it. Anyway, if we were to describe the nature of mind, it's like a space with creative power in which everything arises. So training the heart to rest in this unattached quality of wisdom allows our actions to be guided, allows our allows our actions to be guided by wisdom and loving kindness and compassion and love and joy. This is what happens when we see the nature of mind. Because we recognize that whatever's arising in it is just like a cloud passing through the sky, and not to grab it and make it something real, not to reify it. So when an experience arises, we can ask, what is this in essence? Where do they come from? You see, we tend to think that the experience comes from something out there. But if that were true, we might say, if that's true, then every single person in this room would have the same experience of that thing that has the quality that we project onto it. So that's to think about. So anyway, that's to think about. We have the possibility to allow appearances to appear without judging, without criticizing, without grasping, but still to enjoy. Enjoy as much as possible without grasping. So that's an important aspect. So I think meditation can feel kind of tricky because we often find ourselves thinking, searching, trying to control our experience. True? What is your experience when you meditate? Anybody want to share? Please. Yes, okay, good. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes, it is. Yes, good. So the 30%?
30%.
That's excellent, to even have 1%, because that's a look at that nature. Anybody else want to say something about meditation? Yes, okay, good. If you use the microphone, then possible to for the people in Zoom land. So here.
So 2 weeks ago, you said there are two phases of meditation, the stabilizing the mind and then analytical meditation. So when I meditate, sometimes it becomes analytical and then I'm thinking, and I'm not stable. So I'm curious about the instruction between stability and analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of spoke to that too,
Mm-hmm.
because when something arises,
Mm-hmm.
you ask yourself, what's the essence? And so then it's becoming analytical. And now I'm thinking and not still.
Right. Okay. So then you say, what is the essence? And you leave it. So maybe it comes, maybe there's a Dharma aha, which is, I can't really find the essence. Not sure. No, it's not a matter of having a dialogue, an ongoing dialogue. It's really about asking pointed questions and looking. Just sit with it and then see what happens. And once you come to some kind of conclusion, maybe you have no conclusion. It's okay. You simply returned to a state of single-pointed awareness. So this sandwich, to begin first settling the mind, the mind becomes still. And then when a thought comes, when something arises, that's the time that you would analyze and say, does this have an essence? And then you just leave it alone and you stay. Analytical meditation is often when you are analyzing points on the path to enlightenment. So in other words, you're analyzing the idea that this life that you have is precious. Why is it precious? And then you go through the points that are specified in the teachings. And you think about those points. Is it true that having this life, what if I never met the Dharma? Just to have a human life. Is that good enough? So you look through what are the qualities of having what's called a precious human life. which has all these freedoms and all these qualities, which I'm not going to go into now because then we would be here until we finished our teaching. So it's the idea, also impermanence, then you are meditating on impermanence. You're choosing that as your topic. I'm going to choose impermanence, death and impermanence as my topic, but I'm going to begin with stabilizing my mind. And then I will call to mind the question, is death definite? Is the time of death indefinite? Are there more causes of death than preserving the life? What's going to help me at the time of death? And you analyze those 4 points. And maybe you only analyze one at a time in this session, You analyze that and you really think about that and you come to a conclusion. And when you come to that conclusion, yep, I'm going to die. Okay, so you actually embrace that and you sit with that. What does that feel like to sit with that? After you've analyzed that. So that's what usually analytical meditation, often analytical meditation, is a pointed meditation on a topic, or you have decided that you are going to look at the nature of thought when it arises. Otherwise, if you're just working on stabilizing the mind, developing your concentration, your mental stability, then that's what you're doing. Until you make the decision that that's not what you're doing now, you're moving on to the analysis of whatever it is. So it's not stabilizing the mind and then letting the mind go on every thought that arises to see the truth of that. Or so because the mind is very busy, has the potential to be very busy. Does that make sense?
Yes. What is the relationship between that analytical meditation and contemplation?
I'm not sure what you mean by contemplation. Contemplating to me is analyzing, contemplating this and that, the other thing. But a concentrated, single-pointed meditation to develop this one-pointed present moment awareness, momentary present awareness, which, awareness, what's arising in the mind, what do they say? 65 thoughts, 65 mental moments in the snap of a finger. Now, I haven't seen that, but the Buddha has. So anyway, yes?
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay. All right.
I have a quick question.
Please.
My practice has come full stop, and I actually feel like I'm going backwards. Completely backwards.
Oh,
Any tips besides? So my mind goes 1,000 miles an hour, and I do feel like I'm losing traction.
okay. I'm understanding, I think, what you're saying. Does it have anything to do with the busyness of your life? There you go.
Completely.
There's
yes.
your answer.
Mhm.
That's what you must look at. I remember years ago, Dr. Alan Wallace said that anyone who has a normal life with a job, living a normal life, will not be able to go beyond stage 4 in the meditation practice because there's too much going on. So being able to pause, you see, being able to look at your life, we should all look at our life. What do we do that we don't need to do? And then begin slowly, slowly to eliminate what we can eliminate. It depends on our goal. We have to look at our goal. What is my goal? And then when we think we're going to go off and do this, then we say, is that congruent with my goal? So we talked yesterday about doing a retreat, a one-day retreat, maybe once a quarter, where you start on a Friday night and you spend the day. You don't sit all day, but you do sessions throughout the day, leaving behind any of this. And And then the following morning, then you end it. The thing about this is, and I do really believe that this has had a great impact on our inability to stabilize. So I'll share a personal story. I did a 3-year retreat, okay? And in that retreat, there was no internet, no connection, no outside connection, except for sending a grocery list. But there was no, no connection, no news. You see, now there's the thread. And when I came out of retreat, when I went into retreat, I had a flip phone, push the buttons and it was just for telephone calls. And when I came out of retreat, my neighbor said, "Oh, you can get a smartphone." I said, "I don't want a smartphone. I don't want to be able to be reached everywhere I go and, have my email be carrying around my email. What? No, I don't want that." But it wasn't very long until I have a smartphone. And I was very good. I didn't know how to text, and I was probably a year before I learned how to text. And then I found, oh, well, then that's a big problem. And now it takes effort to leave it behind. I have to actually say no. I have to turn it off at night, put it out of the room at night. Don't turn it on before you go to bed. Turn it off long before you go to bed so that you're not feeding your mind with the craziness that's going on in our world. Because that to which we attend in the moment becomes our reality. That what we put into our mind is where we place our mind, what comes to the mind. Our mind takes the shape of what we're putting in it. So it's really difficult. It's really difficult. I really understand that. And I do know that being able to pull away from it, to leave it behind. But I can always say, but what if somebody needs to get in touch with me? What I grew up in the 40s and 50s. So we had, the phone was on the wall and it was a dial. That's right. Well, it was in the hallway, actually. Yes. Yes. So it wasn't like you could just lay down and put your feet on the wall and talk to your girlfriend for hours, It wasn't like that. So, and we didn't have a TV. So there wasn't a lot of input, What we did is we played hopscotch and we played ball and we played all kinds of animal games, We were horses galloping around, using our imagination and playing with nature. So now, I look around myself right now and I see young people, they're walking like this. They're walking like this. Everybody's walking like this. They're in the restaurants and there's 4 of them sitting around the table and they're all like this. Back problems, neck problems too. Yes. I think, it really kind of breaks my heart. It does. It breaks my heart because human connection, this one-to-one, it's all coming through a box. So I don't know where we'll go. I don't know. So what's important for us is to train our mind. Train our mind. Yeah, train our mind. So how does meditation play a significant role? I'm sorry, did that answer your question? I did go off on a tangent. We must subdue our own mind is what we must do, and we subdue it by limiting the amount of information that we feed it, and that the information we feed it is going to be useful. It's going to help us stabilize and grow our loving kindness and our wisdom to be able to see. Did you have an?
I have a question about pure emotion. So, say I'm overcome with grief. To me, that's not a thought. I'm feeling it. So, do I analyze the mind and say, there I go being sad again? Or do I just be sad? You know, I don't see the process there of feeling sad and really overcome by loss and missing some, people and loved ones. That's such a strong feeling. And if we just talk about the mind right now, I'm not connecting
it to the feeling. Where is the feeling?
in my body. I feel it. I feel like I can be sick. I can be really.
So there's a connection between body and mind.
Right, but
So the mind is sad. What I'm trying to get at is the fact that one of the things that is helpful is to recognize grief. It's there. I am feeling, and that is true for you in the moment. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not that it feels good or bad. It's just, it is. It's there. And there is that, and it's a natural progression of loss. And we can look at that and embrace that as part of this life. And then we can say, maybe this grief we may find unpleasant, it's not something that we would like to keep, but we could also use that grief as a way to grow our loving kindness by saying, oh, so many people experiencing so much loss. And then may this be enough. May I experience this for everyone. And then by just allowing that to come into your own loving heart, and let it dissolve in that. Let it dissolve there. Oh, good. Then it's useful tool to experience grief, loss, by growing your own sense of compassionate love, which is a good feeling. When I feel love, it feels good. When I feel compassion, I might have sorrow. I don't want people to be suffering. But if I have a compassionate heart, then it feels more peaceful than pushing against, not wanting. It's maybe to try, to see, to check and see what happens when you feel sad. You accept, we accept what we can't change, but to see if that grief, if it was solid, if it was always there, we check. It's not part of the mind. It's not the fundamental aspect of the mind, because the mind is fundamentally peaceful, open, spacious, pure. And the grief that comes in it is like a cloud. And it doesn't come without cause. So how can I allow that cloud to evaporate in the sunlight of my love and my compassion? It's testing, checking, working with the mind to see. Does it make sense? Okay. Good.
I think what the tricky part is that when you're knowing your human nature, that you can't change anything, you can't change the results of things. You just
Well,
have
the
to sit
result
with
is
it.
some.
You just have to sit with it. You just have to accept it. You just have to bite the bullet, as they say.
It's
That,
already here.
that also adds a little poison to your, loving kindness, kind of like, I can't do anything good.
But you
I'm-
can change your mind. You can change your mind. And that's what we're doing. We're training the mind so that the mind has a different response. It has a response of understanding that loss is part of life. You see, the four endings. Collecting ends in dispersing. Rising ends in falling. Meeting ends in parting. And birth ends in death. This is truth. This, by being able to live in the truth of reality, we are not captivated by this grasping mind that wants it to be different, wishes it didn't happen, longs for what was. So when we lose, someone that we love, the heart pain comes from clinging to a dream, because the fantasy of having that person or that thing in our life is a fantasy. If we think that fantasy, that every moment that I'm with that person, I want that person to be in my life, and every moment we're together, I'm always happy. Check. You see, because that's typically when we lose something, we analyze the loss as we've lost something that we loved. And we leave behind the things that we didn't like. We augment that loss. So it's really to investigate, always to investigate. What is the cause of my unhappiness? Clinging, wishing and hoping and planning and dreaming, right? Yeah. So when we have this increased awareness of the nature of our mind, we begin to be able to allow these feelings and thoughts and emotions to arise without triggering. You see, it comes. And the more we entertain it, the more it will come. It's just the nature of mind. So we become more and more familiar with our mind. So meditation allows us to be present with our emotions, allowing for a deeper understanding of their true nature, that they are ephemeral. They will pass. They do pass. It's like Mingyur Rinpoche had this terrible anxiety, crippling anxiety. And he went to his father, who was a great meditation master. And he told him, embrace it, make friends with it, invite it in. And over a period of time, when he was able to do that, when he did that, it no longer bothered him. See, he had crippling anxiety. So it's actually looking right in the face of it and seeing that this is the sun of wisdom shining right on that. And that actually can't be found. Yeah. Okay. It is wisdom.
No, I mean, just purely inviting it in. No wisdom, no aversion, no, grasping, no understanding, just purely, deeply inviting the affliction in, embracing the affliction
Mhm.
fully.
I think that is what wisdom is. It is allowing. It's not calling to it to come in, but it is allowing what is arising through the power of understanding, a power of actually seeing. Clear seeing allows that to come and doesn't see it as anything other than arising from causes and conditions that will pass, but has no solidity.
The way I deal with afflictions is like that, but there's no understanding. There's no understanding of the clouds or the sky or anything.
Have to go there.
Just
That's just an
purely,
analogy.
purely
Yes.
Bathing in whatever experience I'm having. That's it.
Yes.
And then it goes away.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. Precisely.
Hello, my name is Tyler. My meditation experience, I kind of when I started my journey, one of my friends, his wife said that I think if I ever stopped thinking, I would die.
Oh, oh.
And I thought, what? That's kind of crazy. Like, why would that be? But that just kind of let me know that her mind was constantly running. And for me, um, I started to notice the clarity, the distance between the thoughts, my mind being open. And I'd ask people, are you experiencing this right now? No thoughts. Thought comes and goes, because I thought I was going crazy. Because of how much clarity, how much clearer my mind was, and so how much I wasn't thinking, how much I wasn't, and so I made sure to ask everybody, because I wanted to know if they were experiencing what I was experiencing, because it was so wonderful to not have to think all the time and to not have to, and that's what I learned was yoga. So it's ultimate kung fu with yourself, So in your mind, if you fight with yourself and you win, you lose too. And they'll say you lost it, you really lost it because you won up here, and so like that you'll grow exhausted going left and right, left and right. And so in my journey, I started to ask my heart these questions, started to trust my heart, started to trust to whisper, and so in my mind, I'd have that loud voice going, yes, no, republic, whatever. But then instead of fighting myself, I kind of sat with myself
Very nice.
and noticed that, this is what I was wanting, just this clarity, and so I also noticed that I can experience feelings, doesn't mean I have to be that feeling. So people, they'll say, I'm depressed, or they'll say, I'm tired. And then I'll say, you're right. That's absolutely correct because you said it. How do you feel that you're right? People don't like that. But in everything you think and everything you say, it comes true. And so be patient with yourself. If you're going backwards with your meditation, sometimes that's best. We're taught things to say things a certain way, but every once in a while, if you say it backwards, say it the wrong way, sometimes it sounds a little bit better. The pursuit of happiness, that means you get there, you arrive, you get the thing, but happiness or the pursuit, that means the process. That means you come to your cushion, you approach it in reverence. How you do anything is how you do everything. So you approach your cushion in reverence. You approach your dinner in reverence. You approach everything in reverence, because you never know when you're not gonna be able to do that or practice it, because death is what makes us all related. We're all the same in that way. Eternal life, living forever here on this planet, that'd be the curse. That's what you would wish for your enemy. People you don't want, that you don't like, you'd want them to exist here forever, because that's the curse. The best blessing that we have is this breath, this life. and the ultimate rest. You know, you experience this when you inhale. You build tension within yourself. Everything you're wanting in your life, you build that within yourself. You're creating it within yourself. The most relaxed you'll ever be is when you.
Nice. Nice. Thank you.
So like that, I just kind of want to share those words. In my meditation, I haven't been to any retreats or anything like that. I just kind of really invested in myself. I really love this one. I really love this one. So you guys can all do it. It's all available to you. And it's just remembering, it's mine already.
It's true. Excellent. Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate that. That was sharing your wisdom and your experience. Really, 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 really great. Really great. We're all on the path together. Yeah. So just thinking about the benefit of meditating and seeking an understanding about how we create our reality by grasping onto these negative or unpleasant thoughts, feelings, emotions that arise. So by having an increased awareness through the power of meditation, we can regulate our emotions much better. We can cultivate compassion. We can understand the nature of emotion. Yes, the nature of emotion. And we can enhance our resilience, our ability to not be triggered, insight into what those triggers are. So through these mechanisms, it serves as a powerful tool. Meditation is a powerful tool for understanding and transforming our emotions. And it leads to greater and greater emotional well-being and personal growth. So simply put, meditation helps us become more aware of our mind. And we are, our world is a product of that mind. So through deep meditation, most of the time we only are on the surface. We don't really go deep. We're just at the surface. But the more we practice, the deepest level is a stream of awareness. It is this empty, spacious mind, as Tyler explained his experience. It's there, it's available in every moment, and we can access it through the power of looking. So we can't just decide. We can't just simply decide, now I will have deep awareness. It requires training and the right conditions. Some people might experience this deeper awareness naturally, but it often takes time and effort and an intentionality. I want to do that. I intend to do that. And just to mention that the concept of this continuity of mind, including the ideas of past and future lives, is central to Buddhist thought. Buddhism suggests that this mind's luminosity, its awareness, persists moment by moment by moment. And it doesn't claim to prove definitively regarding consciousness or the continuity of mind. So instead, it encourages us to investigate our own mind, to gain firsthand experience, directly perceive how this mind exists, and realize that through the power of meditation, we can cultivate all positive qualities of the awakened mind. Wow, we can do that. So this time that we have spent here together has created a lot of good energy. So this good energy we put in our merit bank to yield the highest result of awakened awareness for ourself and all beings. So let's take a moment just to sit quietly and think about the goodness that we created. This positive potential to awaken fully. This awakened mind is a mind that's filled with the greatest, most far-reaching love. It's fused with wisdom and compassion, and completely free of ignorance, hatred, and grasping desire. Free. It's an unstoppable wellspring of happiness, peace, and contentment, and has no limitations to creating beneficial circumstances, reflecting its boundless joy. So, setting that as our pole star, not only for ourselves, but for everyone. May it be so. And dedicating also to the well-being of those in our life who may be unwell right now. To all those who are experiencing war, famine, natural disasters, all the suffering of the world. Through the power of our own practice and our own growing of our own good heart, may all of this diminish and become non-existent. Great. Thank you. Appreciate you all. And if there's any last minute burning question, we'll be here, hopefully, God willing, and the creek don't rise next Sunday as well. This will be the final class will be next Sunday in this Buddhist mind science. And the following weekend, the last weekend of this month, we're going to have a class on the wheel of life, dependent origination, how we create our world. So that will be 2 full days. Venerable? Yes. Yes. Okay, good. Good. I've been thinking about that a lot, that retreat. So 2 days, it's 10 to 3:30 with a break in the middle. The last weekend of the month.
And
Okay.
and you can register online
Oh, yes. Yeah.
at tnlsf.org. tnlsf.org, and look for the last weekend retreat and register. And if you want to have lunch or bring your own.
Cool. Okay. Good enough? Yes? Please. The format for the retreat, well, sort of similar, except more, maybe some more understanding. I actually have a PowerPoint presentation of that, which kind of shows the different stages and what they are and how we look at it. And there will be meditation as well. So I hope that it proves to be useful. Yes. 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 Okay. Good. All right, y'all. You have a good week. Enjoy as much as possible without grasping.
Thank you, Elaine.